Reunited.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
That didn't sound half bad. Who knows? We'll see if we cut that out or not. What's up,
Guess
Kelly?
we'll find out. Oh, not a lot. Tired today.
Yep.
Because I just got back from Florida last night from a summer camp where I lead a group. And so it was amazing and wonderful and exhausting.
Yeah.
So.
I bet it was all those things.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, you guys got back because our daughter went on that trip, and we went and picked her up around 9:45 or something like that.
Yep.
And you guys had just driven all the way from the panhandle of Florida.
That's true.
And I imagine it was a long ways after a lot of late nights and earlier mornings, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think our group specifically got 3 hours of sleep the night before. So we went to bed at 3:30 after some pranks and things. Got up at 6:45 to get on the bus. So,
gosh.
And then last night it didn't stop either because our niece went with us to camp.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, Eliana came with us to camp.
That's incredible.
And so she's a little baby middle schooler. And so her and Dane are on their way back to Ohio right now.
Right now.
Yes, they are driving
currently. I saw the truck outside, which you don't usually drive, so that makes perfect sense. And then are you flying back
I'm
up?
flying up in 2 days, yeah. And so when we got home last night at 10:30 or whatever time, all the suitcases opened up. Everything went into the washer. I stayed up, made sure everything got into the dryer. I was doing laundry until 1-ish.
Yuck.
Trying to get her stuff done and his stuff especially. And since I'm flying, I don't want to pay for extra bags.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm sending all my clothes with him in the car.
And the couple things you need to stay here.
Yeah. So
cute outfits for a podcast.
Super duper cute.
Right.
Yeah. It was slim pickings. I'm not going to lie. It was really.
You did great.
It was
look
really
great.
slim.
For those of you listening, Kelly looks great.
Yeah. So I got them on the road after turning all of that around this morning. And so after this, I'm going to go home and take such a nice nap. It's going to be so wonderful.
Because your kids are also
My kids are in Ohio
as well.
My puppy is at home, though. Okay. So me and Lady are just going to snuggle up and take a nap. And I'm so excited.
That's awesome. That makes a lot of sense.
Order some food. It's going to be great.
It's just going to be so quiet. You don't have anything you have to do over the next couple of days. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think a bunch of us, we're longing for that moment. We keep waiting for that moment to happen.
Yep.
Because for those of you listening, welcome, first of all, to the Four Students podcast. It's me, Ed. It's everyone's favorite Kelly. And we haven't seen each other in a week and a half, which is really weird.
It's odd.
Because now it's summertime.
Right.
And all of our programming is kind of done. We've had some things here or there, and I speak at some other events, so I had a couple of things that I've had to be prepared for, to create content for. But we're kind of in this weird flux kind of moment right now where we've ended our content in schools. We're starting to work on a bunch of stuff for the fall, but then there's these things that just keep popping up, and I haven't had a chance yet to have those. I'm so excited to have those couple of days. And when July gets here, I'm going to have, plenty of time. I think it's taking 2.5 weeks or something like that in July. It's going to be fantastic.
Because we really stack it in during the school year.
We really do.
Weekly, it is, I see you all the time.
Yeah. Multiple events, staff meetings.
Every week.
Podcast recordings.
Yeah,
there's all this stuff happening.
In the summer, we really try and take some of that extended time to not
do that stuff, to rest a little bit.
Yeah.
But it just so happens as we grow and as things happen, we're asked to do more, and we keep saying yes. And it's beautiful. And every time we do one of these events, I'm so pumped that we did it. But it's just, it's like being ready, particularly as a communicator. My mind, I don't multitask well. It's hard for me to juggle lots of content in my brain all at one time, particularly as a storyteller, that I'm trying to think about what is the story I'm going to be telling at this, and how do I tell it well? How do I include the right amount of detail? How do I pull the audience in? How do I create the felt need? And then how do I help give content that's helpful? And so we have an event. I had to speak this past weekend in a really, significant way. And then I am facilitating. I'm speaking and then facilitating an interview conversation tomorrow night at an event right here in Charlotte at this incredible organization. All of you listening, watching should look it up. It's called Ace the Stigma. And it is a tennis tournament, a memorial tennis tournament that happens every year in honor of Chuck Rainey, who was the president of, I think it's called Old Providence Racket Club. And it's a tennis club here in Charlotte. And Chuck died by suicide. And so they've created this tournament to raise money for, getting rid of the stigma surrounding mental health, surrounding the conversations around needing help and being in crisis and all of that stuff. And so that kickoff, that tournament's happening this weekend, recording this like here near the end of June. And so that kicks off tomorrow night with this welcome kind of dinner and all of that, and specifically a mental health event. And they've asked us to come in and speak at that event and to design
so excited.
it. And so it's really cool.
Really
so we are settling in, and I think we're going to have to do a podcast about this in the near future. We're settling in on vulnerability. Like, what does true relationship look like? What should a relationship, what should it give? What should we be prepared to give in a relationship so that it's reciprocal and healthy? But how do we foster shame resilience, to kind of quote, Brene Brown, that wholehearted living she talks about in her book, Daring Greatly. Which is crazy. I was looking back, that's a 2012 book.
I know.
Like 13-year-old book.
Forever.
Yeah, and I'm going through it in preparation for this event. But how can we be okay being vulnerable without fear of, of losing our community, of embarrassing ourselves, or perhaps somehow disqualifying ourselves from our friendships? So that's what we're talking about tomorrow night. So that's also buzzing around in my head. And then we're doing these 2 podcasts today, going to record a couple of these. So my head's going a little bit crazy, but
it's okay.
Yeah, it's totally okay.
Buckling up.
It's
going to be awesome.
So today we're talking about thoughts. And we're going to give all of you a chance at another peek at one of our events. We did predisposition a couple months ago, this idea of, are we more introverted, extroverted, or are we more agreeable, less agreeable? And so today I want to jump into these narratives, that inner monologue, I guess, that we kind of hear, dialogue sometimes that we have with ourselves, and get into that idea of, are our thoughts true and helpful? And just the reminder that, hey, we are not our thoughts.
Yep.
So we do this content with students. We always play this game at the beginning where they're given these 4 things. It's funny. It's like the New York Times game Connections.
Yes.
And so,
we put these 4 things.
Yeah, you're trying to. It's called imposter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we put 4 things up, and we're like, which one of these things does not belong? As just this introduction to this idea that, can we figure out what doesn't belong in our thoughts? And that's kind of the why we do it. And we have a few, we won't get into any of them, but some of them are like Harry Potter characters. Like one of them's 4 Harry Potter characters, and one of them's Ravenclaw instead of Gryffindor. I think it's Luna. And the other are Gryffindor-like characters.
There's like a video game one.
Yeah, which one's not a real Nintendo Switch video game. There's one about all of these sports teams.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all different types of sports teams.
That one kind of always gets people.
It gets people because
every time.
There's, I think, a Major League Baseball team, there's a hockey team, there's a football team. Maybe there's 2 baseball teams, because the whole thing is that all the mascots are animals. Except one of them is like a person or something. Yeah, he was the Yankee.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I don't know. But it's fun. And we just kind of get them together in groups, have a competition. And
there's also 2 versions of that game.
Yeah.
There's like the rowdy version.
Yes.
And then
which we've started doing recently.
And then there's the chill version.
Yes, the chill version.
I'm always a fan of the rowdy version, but recently. You guys, you're a little nervous about safety, so you go for the
safer version,
the chill version,
the less lawsuit likely one.
And it's also just like half a tick less fun.
I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. There's a lot of suspense. Yeah, there's a version where they all have colored balls in both versions. They have to pick the color like you would in if you know what Kahoot is. There's 4 colored answers, and you have to run or have the right color. And the rowdy version is you have to sprint to the middle of the floor. They're all in groups and circles around Kelly, in a circle around Kelly, and you got to sprint up there with the ball.
Whoever lines up
behind you first has the first shot at getting the most points because it counts down in diminishing amounts of points, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something like that, I think. And they have numbers on the ball or whatever. And so they come running in line and they're trying to get in the line close to you and they run into you. They run into each other. They slip and land on their butt like the one girl did one time.
It depends on how competitive they are.
Yeah, I know.
Those
And
are
they
all
are.
choices.
The answer is some of them are very competitive.
Quite competitive.
So since we have had a couple of kids run into each other, we've just suggested maybe we should not do it this way.
What?
So we have another version where we have this carpet in the middle, and if they have the right answer, then they can choose to just get 1 point for just holding the ball and just guaranteed 1 point, or they can try and roll the ball for 3 points or whatever.
Which is much harder.
Which is way harder out on a gym floor into the circle. It has to stay in the circle. Way harder.
It's very rare.
Yeah, very rare for that to work.
We make
but they all
big
try
deal
a bunch at first.
Whenever they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we
It's
jump
fun.
into thoughts. And the big question we ask, and this is kind of what I want to ask you, because it's funny, we do all these events with each other, but I don't know how often we stop and process like we did with predisposition and temperaments. Where do you land in all this? So your thoughts. The big question we always ask students is, if your thoughts were a person, like your inner monologue was a person, would you want to hang out with them? Would you like see them sitting somewhere and go, ooh, I'm going to grab my lunch and go sit with them? What would you do?
I think so now. I think so. Yeah.
You mean like today now? Or you mean
No,
like
I mean
just
like,
in recent years?
Yeah, in recent years,
Okay.
like developmentally,
Yeah.
I would not have said that at the age that these students are receiving this.
100%.
And even like, I don't know, 5 years ago. Still, like, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in your 20s where like you're comparing and you feel like you haven't done enough, and there's new relationships. There's all sorts of things that happen in that era. And then once you kind of settle into who you are, I feel like you can kind of be like, okay, I'm okay with myself, and give yourself freedom to like who you are on the inside.
Yeah. And like Dr. Johnson said in one of those episodes earlier, like a little more compassion, like you can like love yourself a little better even though you're flawed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this definition recently of confidence. I think it was Esther Perel who said it, and she was talking about that confidence is, what was it? It was something like this belief and care for yourself, this love for yourself, in spite of the fact that you are a flawed individual. You can accept that you are flawed and that you make mistakes, but you can still care for yourself even, in spite of that.
Love that.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of was in line with what Dr. J said on that episode.
What about you?
It's funny. I don't think about me very much, I've realized. I think there's being a really optimistic person. I think the thing, I would hang out with my thoughts because there's fun and funny and weird things that I think all the time. And I say a bunch of them out loud and try not to say them all out loud. But there's a part of me that's always kind of like telling me I'm an imposter though still. Because I've never really, it's funny, I've become really good at what I do. As far as storytelling, communicating, I understand, and enough people have told me that, Ed, you're really good at this. You should keep doing this, including you. You've been very encouraging me to that in that way. But I went to school to I wanted to be an artist, but realized, I'm not going to make any money. Like probably, or at least certainly not regular income as an artist. And this was like, I'm getting my college education in the 90s. So I became a teacher because I had also worked with an after-school program during college, and I loved working with kids, and this was this new thing. I was like, I love this. This is so fun. And I found that I just loved being around kids and students that were younger. I started leading small groups in this college group at my church that I was in when I was in college, and just realized I love hanging out with and helping and kind of like encouraging and helping younger kids figure things out. And so then I put those two together, so I ended up in art education. But then when we moved to Colorado, there were no art jobs. And I had taken a bunch of history credits because I loved history, and they offered me a history job. And so then I went back and took, I think, 4 more courses so I could be highly qualified to teach history. And then I taught history for 12 years. But my degree was in art education with a concentration, not even a full minor, a concentration in history. And so I was kind of a little bit of a imposter there a little bit. I wasn't a historian. And I would meet people who went to school to be history teachers and who were true historians. And I just didn't know as much as they did. And I didn't get down into the weeds and details. Yeah, but I mean, 12 years of just U.S. history.
Still.
And world geography. I learned a lot, enough to kind of know more than the average person. But certainly, like, what I was getting really good at was educating, of taking ideas and figuring out how to make them fun and interesting, and complex ideas, and make them simple and analogous to something that these students might know. And so that's really, and golly, the number of reps Malcolm Gladwell talks about, like in that book Outliers, he talks about the 10,000 hour rule that everybody kind of throws around now. They're like the Beatles and these professional athletes and all these people that are exquisitely good. Exquisitely good, is that even a thing? They're really good at whatever they do. And it's probably because they've spent around 10,000 hours at least doing that thing. And I calculated at some point, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, I had already accumulated like 16,500 hours of speaking to students or something crazy like that. Yeah. And getting that immediate feedback in a classroom. And so I have become really good at reading a room and feeling it and trying to figure out how to reach people and make it more interesting. But yeah, I was an imposter, I felt like, as a teacher. And then I became a student pastor for those 8 years. I never went to seminary. I loved people, loved helping encourage people and equipping people to care and help other people thrive. So that was kind of a little bit odd, And now here I am in this mental health space for 4.5 years, and I'm not a mental health professional. So it's just interesting. So that my voice in my head is saying, these people that you're around all the time, you're not as educated as they are. You don't have the letters after your name, that you're a licensed, mental health counselor. You're not an addiction counselor. You're not a registered play therapist. There's all of these things. So it's, I don't know, that part of my voice in my head, that was a really long story to get back to that.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't like that part of me.
Yeah.
But at their age, I would not have hung out. I was full of doubt. And it was just always telling me about how bad my acne was and how skinny I was, or unattractive, or not as talented as this, or I'm never going to be in that group, or I'm never going to have like a girlfriend that will stick around. You know what I mean? It was just all of these voices constantly.
Same.
Yeah. And so we kind of ask these students that question and watch them and give them the chance to talk to each other. And then we kind of jump into this idea, those two ideas, that you are not your thoughts. And that how can we learn to put our thoughts on trial, to determine are our thoughts true and helpful?
One parameter that we talk about with the you are not your thoughts, because there was one where Charisse was doing it, and I just thought it was really cool how she was like, I want to convince you that you're not your thoughts. Do you remember that?
I love it, yeah.
And she was like, by the end of today, I want to convince you that you are not your thoughts, because you're probably thinking like, how is that a separate thing? Like, I and my thoughts, like,
it's me. It's coming out of my brain.
Yes, it's coming out of my brain. And she said, has anybody ever taken a test, gotten out of the test, and thought, I bombed that, I failed it absolutely. Like, I'm not confident in that. Oh my gosh, like, I should have studied more. You're just down on yourself. And then 2 days later, you get your grade back and it's like a 93.
Right.
And you're like, I'm amazing. And so I just thought that was such a good analogy of like how, with that context coming in, with the true thing actually being there, like the grade, like the evidence of it, how it changed your thought. It changed how you felt about yourself because you now have this evidence, this true concrete thing that you can hold on to. Yeah. I was like, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah. And then the time between before you got that grade back.
Yeah.
The way you were living or thinking about and feeling about yourself. That was real.
Yeah. That was real. Like, you really did think that about yourself. And then lived you really did think, I'm amazing after you, like, all of those things are true.
Yeah.
And so we can't attach our identity to our thoughts because they're fleeting.
Yes. I love that. And Amy, who's also been on here too, Amy Work, she said, and I love this description because I'd never really thought about this before, even though I've heard some version of this, just never in this language, but that your brain is just a problem-solving machine. Right. It's just trying to help you survive. And so it's going to constantly just present you with all these ideas. What about this? Oh, have you thought about this? Oh, if you did this.
Yeah.
Or, oh, what if she thinks that way? And it was just fascinating because then I shared, with you, and sometimes when I'm driving down the road and like one of those car carriers is pulled over unloading cars and the back ramp is down, and for that fleeting moment, those intrusive thoughts will jump in and be like, hey, what if you jump that? And I'm like, no, wait, Shay, why would I even think that? That's a horrible idea. Like, I'd really get hurt, or somebody would. That's a horrible idea.
But if you decided to interpret that as that is you, then that could really put you into a spiral of like, oh my gosh, why did I think that? Like, what's going on? And so, but it's not that. Like, it's just your brain giving you options that are in front of your eyes.
Yes. It's funny. It's like our very own. It's not AI, it's just I guess. But it's our very own just running in the background all the time, particularly when we're stressed about stuff. Mm-hmm. Something is happening relationally with ourselves and somebody else, or there's some problem that doesn't seem to be going away or doesn't seem to have a solution. And so you'll just be sitting there and your brain will go, oh, what about this? And it'll just throw out an idea. And it may be a horrible idea. And you're like, no, jumping this truck is a horrible idea. Or, whoa, just like getting on social media and trashing them in my story or something. That's a horrible idea.
That's a horrible idea.
It's like, that's not you. That's just your brain trying to solve this thing, this urgency, this need that you feel.
Yeah.
And it's going, hey, what about this?
Two things. Where that leads to is, I remember Amy talking about this, and like your first initial thoughts you're not in control of them.
That's right. They just that's right. I love
that.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
You are not in control. It's the next step, what you do with them, that is the thing that you're in control of, which is kind of what we're about to talk about with putting your thoughts on trial. Like, is this true? Is this helpful? Letting that decision inform if this is true or helpful in order to let it in.
Yes.
And then second thing, it reminds me of that scene in Inside Out where Riley, it's the end of the movie, she's just like been through it, right? All movie long. Her like islands of personality are falling, and it's like the music is just like heavy, and you just feel it, like physically feel it. And like they get that light bulb, and that light bulb is an idea, and it's when they are giving her the idea to run away. Do you remember that?
I do. That's right. Yes.
And so there's the board here, and they take this light bulb and they put it in, and then it sinks down. Mm-hmm. And then Joy says she took it. And I was like, that is such an interesting, like,
visualization.
Like she took it. She took our idea.
She accepted this
like if we can think of it as like joy is the thought that we can't control, and then this is the board where we're in control and we can choose to take the thought or to let it like go away. Yeah. And then she takes it, she runs away, and then she realizes this is a bad idea, not going to do this, and then she goes back home. But I just thought that's a really cool scene.
No, I love that because it's, to your point, it's this, and art is so cool that way. It's this visualization, or it's an explanation in another way we haven't heard, or some way that we can identify with an idea, but it just, it's this visualization of this concept, and that makes so much sense the way you're saying it. Like, oh, she accepted this idea.
She accepted the idea.
Yeah. And we do that. And I think that's what we're trying to get these students to do, because at least to consider, hey, is it possible that there are some thoughts that you shouldn't entertain? Mm-hmm. And I can remember being young. Obviously, you remember being young. And like any parents, teachers, any adults listening, how many dumb ideas we had, and how many dumb things that we're thankful we're alive, or that, you know, something tragic didn't happen, or even just something life affecting that would have affected us for the rest of our life around these ideas that we had. Wow. Like, I wish someone had been there to teach me something to perhaps better put some of these thoughts on trial ahead, and not just run with all these thoughts. And obviously tragedy happens out of that as well. And it's like, gosh, like these kids get stuck in, and we all get stuck in these spirals of thought, and we can't seem to get away with it. And we start to believe it's true. And then, yeah, we end up doing things that we wish we had never done. And certainly the people around us wish we had never done. We kind of introduced this concept, like in this, in our thoughts event, that came out of a story like this, something that happened to Jen and I. Like, when we were, this is getting to be a little bit ago, but I won't say how many years because I'm not trying to sell out how old my wife is. Like, I don't know if that's still a big deal or not to say how old people are.
I don't know. I think people are like
kind of past
growing, like, and for me anyway, I'm like, the older I get, the more, I don't know. I love growing older.
Yes,
so
but you're still pretty young. So when the numbers start like getting bigger, those big tens
I feel like
start getting bigger.
I feel like women get more respected as they get older.
I hope that just continues to change earlier and earlier, that women get the respect they deserve. Anyways, there was a big birthday my wife had, and this guy who's a very close friend of ours that you and Dane have met and hung out with, we had met him working at summer camp. My wife Jen had worked with him for a long time. He had been sent to Grand Cayman to open a YMCA in Grand Cayman. So that's really a cool thing. And now we have this connection in this absolutely gorgeous Caribbean island. If you haven't been to Grand Cayman, go. I'm not sponsored by the Grand Cayman Board of Tourism or anything like that. I'm just saying it's an incredible place. And so I reached out to him because I was planning this big birthday for Jen, because she usually plans our trips. Like, she likes to get down in the weeds and the details about it. And so I don't like getting in the way of that. And I'm like, okay, fine, you plan it. But I got to plan this entire trip from beginning to end. And so I reached out to him, and we got to go down to Grand Cayman. And it was really cool because I just kind of bought her a bathing suit, which was kind of fun. Got her bag packed and all of that stuff, and then said, hey, we're going to a very warm place, pack for that, but then we're going to a cold place, pack for that too. And so we get down to Grand Cayman, and our friend Greg picks us up with his girlfriend at the time. Her name's Ramona, amazing lady, really cool lady. Shout out Ramona wherever you are, because Ramona was working at... what is that resort called?
The Ritz-Carlton.
The Ritz-Carlton in Georgetown.
I know this story better than you do.
You do. I just can't. For some reason, I don't know why the Ritz. I don't spend a lot of time at the Ritz-Carlton, people, so that name doesn't really just kind of pop right into my head. Had never been to the Ritz-Carlton before, but Ramona was working for Ritz-Carlton at this time, and so she had the ability to get us a really, really good deal on the Ritz-Carlton. So we arrive, they pick us up from the airport, we go hang out with them for the evening, and they're like, in the morning, we're taking you where you're staying. And Jen is pumped to be in Grand Cayman. We drive up, and we're driving into the Ritz-Carlton, and there's a gatehouse, and you check in with somebody out there. They find out who you are and all that, if you're supposed to be there or not. Then you come up the drive, and you get up there, and then all the bellhops, they come out and start grabbing your luggage, and someone already knows your name, like Mr. and Mrs. Williams, welcome to the Ritz-Carlton. And they bring us in, and we hear that you're celebrating a big birthday, and they had someone walking out with flutes of champagne on this little platter. And they give in their happy birthday, Mrs. Williams, clink glasses and sip our champagne and get us checked in. And we realize this room that we're going to be in is just ridiculous. And the concierge is like, really quickly, I'd love to just kind of mention all our facilities, what you have access to, the spa down here, the beach, and there's sailboats and paddle boards and blah, blah, blah. I mean, just anything you could want or whatever was all available for us, which was really, really cool. And then we go up to this room, and it's overlooking the pool and out at the beach, and it's like this beautiful suite. And I mean, it's just beyond our wildest dreams. It was absolutely incredible. And so out of that story, I tell these students, it's kind of crazy. I think because perhaps we think we are our thoughts, or in the past we've thought that we're the thoughts, that we almost act as like that concierge did to us when we arrived. Come on in, whatever thought you are, have a seat. How can I take, care of you? Just let me show you your way around. This is who I am. This is what you have access to, and everything. Come on in. No matter the thought, you just make them welcome. When maybe we should be more like the security guard at the gatehouse. That that person was there checking to make sure our
Right.
ID. Did we have a reservation? Do we belong at the Ritz-Carlton? Are we going to raise all kinds of hell when we go in there? Are we going to cause problems for the, for this property or the other guests or the well-being of the space itself? And so we kind of just introduced this idea.
I love that idea. It makes so much sense.
Yeah,
Like, it's
hope
such
so.
an easy way to be like, bouncer, concierge. And like,
Yes.
I don't know. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so we're hoping it makes sense. And we just say, perhaps you should take on more of this security guard kind of mentality as opposed to the concierge that just invites every thought in.
Yep.
And so how can we begin to identify what thoughts are true and helpful? And then we kind of introduce this idea of cognitive distortions. And before I get into what they are, I'm just going to list some of them. All of you kind of like listening, watching. It'll be interesting for you to kind of jot down or maybe even pause and think, do I do this? But like,
Before you say that, we sat down and came up with the true and helpful thing on purpose. Like, that's very intentional.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because one can be true and the other's not, and then that you still shouldn't let that in.
Yes.
Like, something can be true, but it's not really helpful.
Yes.
Or something can be helpful, but it's not true.
Yes, exactly.
And so both of those checked need to happen before you let something in.
I love that distinction, the fact that you slowed us down to talk about that, because we were very intentional about
Very.
that. It needs to be both.
Right, because I think we started with true.
Yeah. And true is, you're like, yeah, that's good. True is good. True is always good. And then you're like,
But
I am going to die one day. That's true.
that's true. It's probably not helpful.
Probably not helpful for me to sit and think
To
about it
dwell
all
on,
the time.
You know? So I think
Yeah.
both of those things need to be there and checked before
No,
you
I think
let
that's-
something in.
I think that's brilliant, actually, to stop and that's an important thing.
It
for
is an
people to
important
realize.
little step
Yeah.
in the thing.
Yeah. You're not your thoughts. And the thoughts you choose to let in, are they true? And are they helpful?
Not and or.
Right. It's just and. True and helpful. Yeah. That's so accurate.
Okay, back to cognitive
No. So this
distortions.
whole idea of cognitive distortions, that there are these ways of thinking that are off. They're distortions, that they are not true or helpful, or they may be true but not helpful, or helpful but not true. I don't know if is that bad? Helpful but not true?
Helpful but not true. Like informing you and like creating an opinion in you that like helps your cause but not necessarily founded in any truth.
Yeah, like maybe
Like
I don't
if
know,
you put
like
yourself
there's
in
this
an echo
naive, like this
chamber or
or this
something.
naive hope that's not true, but because you believe it, almost like here's another
Oh, yeah.
Disney movie,
Like denial.
Bolt. When Bolt thought he actually was a superhero, and he goes running through to save this, and because he's a superhero on set, he's a superhero. He believes he's a superhero.
Yeah.
He's not a superhero.
Right.
He can't really do the big sonic bark that's
All
going
of
to
those
save
things
everybody.
are helpful, but not
But
true.
not true. And so at some point they come to an end, and you're like, oh shoot.
And then he's thinking like, who am I?
Yeah. What is my true identity if I'm not Bolt, super dog?
This dog.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, maybe that's an aside. Maybe we'll cut all this out.
Yeah.
But there's this way of thinking that's so common, this distorted way of thinking, that they've actually categorized it and like given them names, these patterns of thinking, that so many people do this. I think for me, that's so helpful to hear that. Because when I read through them, it's like, oh, I do these. Oh, but everybody
And everybody
does these.
else does too.
Yeah.
It's not isolating. It's not
Right.
I'm weird. I'm the one that's like got the problems. Everybody deals with the same things in a different way. And this is one of my favorite parts of the actual event because when we start going through these, and we're going to say them here in a second, you can watch the students be like, oh yeah, I totally do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me. Yeah. And
Or they
so,
elbow their friend.
yes.
Like, oh God, girl, you do that all the time.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch, and yeah, I'm sure that will happen for anybody who's listening as well.
Absolutely. So I'm going to jump into these. The first one, and it's fun because we worked with, again, our advisory board on what are maybe the 5 most common. Because there's
there's
actually
like 30.
There's a lot of these. You can look these up online. Cognitive distortions. Just do a Google search or have chat summarize them for you or whatever. But they're all kind of built around some of the same kind of operating principles. And you'll hear even in these, there's some similarities even between them. But we just chose kind of 5 of the big ones. And the first one is all or nothing thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so you view a situation or a person in only two categories instead of a continuum. Let me start over with that. Usually either all bad or all good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, unfortunately, this idea of definitely not going to get political, but that we are so polarized and that someone from the other side, whatever your side you're on, is a complete idiot, is a fool, is trying to destroy America.
Yeah, is has bad intentions.
Yes, literally is trying to destroy the country. And both sides believe it about the other side.
It's so interesting.
And so there's no gray area, there's no nuance. It's just all good or all bad.
Right.
Gosh, yeah, that's a big one. This one, I know a lot of people do this. And back to our last little peek inside our events, our predisposition temperament one. People who have more like the blues, the more introverted and the less agreeable people, this can be a really tough one for that group who can tend to be or can be, and they'll notice maybe glass half empty kind of people, but fortune telling is what the second one's called. Yeah. You predict the future negatively, typically, mostly, without considering other more likely outcomes. If I fail this test and I fail this class, I won't get into college and I'll be miserable for the rest of my life. Or, chances are, yes, like, I get to go hang out with him and he says that he likes me, but he's probably not going to stick around. Or I don't know. Just you can always, the story's always going to end badly. Or at least you think it is.
Yep.
And I've heard these people say, and I think I've told you this, and it's offensive to people like you and I, but that that positivity or optimism or maybe even some level of like happiness is a luxury of the simple-minded.
That's I don't know tough, that right? I've heard you say that to me, and that does hurt my feelings.
Yes. And some people just say it more bluntly, like optimism is a luxury of the dumb or the stupid. Oh. Because if you really knew all the details like I do, then you would know there's no way that it can work out.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to malign any, specific person or even any whole group of people, but I mean, there are people that would say, I'm not pessimistic, I'm realistic. And they would just say, if you knew all actually, if you knew the statistics about that, chances of that working out for you actually really poor. And so they just kind of feel that things are not going to work out, and they tend to skew negatively in that way. So that's an interesting one. Tunnel vision. And this one is similar. You're going to hear some similarities. And this one's big right now because any of us who have social media accounts and read the comments, particularly if you have a lot of followers or something, you decide to comment on something on a post where a lot of people are commenting and there's a lot of followers. Negative comments, or you pay undue attention to the negative comments and less attention to the positive comments, and this is called tunnel vision.
Literally 100 comments that are positive, one that says this is such a waste of my time or whatever.
Yes, and you're like,
you're gonna zero in, like,
you feel gutted, even though 100 people said that was incredible, I had so much fun, or you look so beautiful, or whatever.
One person,
and then one person says, "What's with those shoes?" And then you're like,
you're right.
Those shoes are ugly.
Suck.
And we get tunnel vision, and we somehow literally the 100 positive comments just like evaporate, and then it's just like there's only one comment.
Yeah.
We always tell the students, like, can you imagine if 1,000 people walked up to you and just told you that they liked the thing you posted? And just like, oh, you look so pretty. Oh, no way, that vacation looked amazing. Oh, you look so great in that bathing suit. Oh my gosh, like you look so sharp, in that tie. Whatever it happens to be. And then one person came up and was like, I don't know, it's kind of mediocre. And then walked away.
It's kind of mid.
And then, then another 700 people after that walked up and told you how great you were, but you're thinking.
You're still thinking about the one.
It's mid. Why is it mid? And it's just funny. And I think this one, I can do this a lot. You've watched me do this sometimes with some of our events and stuff.
Both of us. That happened to me this morning.
It happened to you this morning? Mm-hmm. You going to share, or no, you're just going to keep this to yourself?
I'm trying to decide.
How vulnerable do I want to be on this podcast?
No, it was, I was reading some messages. Okay, so my niece that we took to camp.
Yeah.
We let her use this like old family phone.
Okay.
So that she could contact us over Wi-Fi. Like it doesn't have a phone number or anything.
Yeah. So it's like an old iPod.
It's just like whatever.
Yes.
And so I was reading through and looking through all the pictures and stuff, and they were so funny. Like this little 11-year-old girl is taking all of these pictures or whatever. And so I was reading messages and stuff that she had sent to her little friends or whatever. And they were all like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad we're leaving. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun. This is the best week ever. Blah, blah, blah. Like all
That's awesome.
this stuff,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And then there was one message that said, I've had so much fun, but I'm really excited to come home. And that is so not
My gosh, that's crazy normal, right?
It's so incredibly normal. But I was like, why are you excited to go home? Do you not like it here?
Oh, yeah.
I literally felt that this morning, and I had to be like, no, I was there. She had fun.
Yeah, she said all of these comments about how much fun she had.
And so I was literally doing that this morning before I left.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes so much sense. I think we get stuck. It's easy to get stuck on that one. The next one's called mind reading. You believe you know what others are thinking and fail to consider other possibilities. And this happens all the time with so many students that I know, where they're like, oh, she doesn't like me.
Right.
My math teacher doesn't like me. Oh yeah, no way. She told you she doesn't like you? No. She'd probably get fired if she said that. She just gives me these looks and I can just tell.
I can just tell.
And I mean, maybe there is something. Maybe that teacher was irritated in that moment or whatever. Yeah. It doesn't mean that they've made an entire judgment about your character or who you are as a person.
And with adults, I feel like that's a slippery slope because I would consider myself intuitive.
Yes. Yeah. And our guts kind of can be right. And I trust Jen's intuition big time.
Yeah. And so if you're not careful, you can believe it a little too often. Because you were right in this, and this situation, you must be right in a lot of situations.
Yeah, you assume.
Even the negative ones. And so I can fall into that trap where I'm like, if I'm getting a weird vibe from somebody, it must be true because I'm intuitive. That's not always.
Because I've been right in the past. I'm probably,
Yeah, that's not always the truth.
But those micro expressions where we pick up on it, we just catch one little look, and then when you were talking to them, and then you look away, and then you look back, and they looked at somebody else, and they raised their eyebrows just a tiny bit or something.
Oh
You're
my
like,
gosh.
oh God, she hates me. He hates me, destroyed or whatever. And you missed something that happened in between. There's a chance that maybe wasn't even about you, or people laughing across the room, and they had glanced at you earlier. Now you're certain that they're laughing about you.
Positive.
Mind reader. And then the last one's overgeneralizing. You make sweeping negative conclusions that goes far beyond the current situation. So basically this person, I'm not allowed to see my friends this Friday night. My whole life is horrible. Categorically, something happens and then categorically. Or I failed this test, or I didn't score in that game. I'm horrible at basketball. Or you would just make these sweeping generalizations because of one again.
Right.
You can hear there's a lot of similarities between these.
There's some things that differentiate them, but they all have little threads that go through them.
Yeah, I'm going to go through them one more time.
Okay.
All or nothing thinking, fortune telling, tunnel vision, mind reading, and overgeneralizing.
Yeah.
Those are the ones.
I think one of my favorite things about this content is how it does not discriminate between age.
Oh, yeah, that's so true.
Literally every person who is going to listen to this in the future on this podcast, a student in the future, wherever, it's applicable. Like I just said, this happened to me this morning. I'm 34 years old,
and we're going in and doing these
and
events.
I'm one of the ones who helped create this.
Yes.
And we tell people this all the time. And I still don't get it right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's just really helpful reminders for every single person.
Yeah, so we are going to give you here at the very end, because we're wrapping this up, just some things or ways, questions, so that you can start to put your thoughts on trial. And we always tell the students, put the thought, particularly if you feel a big emotion around it, that should be a trigger for you. What am I believing is true? What narrative, what story am I living out of right now? And is that true? Does my math teacher really hate me? Is she really going to break up with me? Do I really suck at basketball? And let's put that thought on trial, put it on the witness stand, and let's have them bring up evidence, provide evidence for your argument that proves that it's true. So here's the questions that we give the students. We put it on the screen. Is there substantial evidence for my thought? Show me the evidence. Is there evidence contrary to my thought?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
It is.
And I'll tell them, take out a piece of paper and write down all the evidence, things that you are certain are true that validate what you believe. Now, I want you to argue the opposite side. What's evidence that shows that might not be true? Have you even thought about it and written it down to see what that is? Am I attempting to interpret this situation without all evidence? Is there a lot of things I don't know?
Yep.
That's an important one to recognize. What would a friend think or say about this situation? Someone who really cares about you. 2 more questions. If I look at the situation positively, how is it different? I think about Annie all the time. So our daughter, our youngest, big into musical theater, and Dane and Kelly always come to her shows. Very talented. And this isn't just me, I don't think, as a dad saying it.
Like, she's very talented.
She has a beautiful voice, and she's very comfortable on stage. And we love seeing her perform. But she used to say, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if I get up there and I bomb, or my voice cracks and it's going to be so embarrassing. I'm like, yeah, that would be embarrassing. Have you thought about what would happen if you get up and absolutely crush?
Yeah.
How does the audience respond? How do you visualize that? How are you reacting as they applaud or whatever? How does that feel? And we just think about just the negative things that could happen. But I love that question. If I look at the situation positively, how is it different? How does it feel if you envision yourself in the next game scoring 30, even though you didn't score this game?
Yeah.
And then this last question has 2 pieces, but I think it's good. How will this matter, fill in the blank, time from now, a year from now? How about 5 years from now? And I think that's a really, really good question to think about any circumstance. But yeah, that's the thing that we walk them through. You are not your thoughts.
Yep.
Are your thoughts true and helpful? And here's some ways that you could actually identify whether they're true or helpful. Don't entertain every thought. Be the security guard at the gate with your thoughts. Not bad. Pretty cool content.
I think so.
Yeah. Helpful. We hear a lot of great things back from it, from students, but also obviously from the adults, teachers, counselors that are always in the room when we do that stuff too.
They're always like, if we would have known this.
Golly. If I'd heard this when I was their age.
Yeah, so.
That's what we all say, all of us.
Right.
If I had heard that.
Back in my day.
Well, thanks so much for jumping on with us and getting another peek into our curriculum, one more event that we do here at For Students with our schools. And yeah, we hope it's helpful. Go back, listen to it, pause, write the stuff down, maybe think about it, spend some time processing it with people that are close to you. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you later.